A rush of coal-black billowing thunderheads entombed the morning's blue sky. The long, roiling horizon above the fields flashed purple. The sun would set unseen. It was night already further west in the prairie. Lars Nelson sprinted toward his son Mundy across the pasture as the first flash of lightning sizzled the air overhead. Moments later, the ground growled beneath them in the reverberation of rolling thunder, like the tolling of a giant bell, tipped with a deep, booming echo. "Let's get those cows back in the barn right now," his father yelled as he ran past. "I'll meet you there." Mundy knew better than to ask questions. By the time he reached the grazing pasture, the cows were trotting toward the barn on their own, their lowing panicked, their eyes bulging with terror. Mundy ran alongside them, but another round of powerful thunder made them break into a gallop, leaving the two calves lagging behind. The first two cows reached the barn door at once, scraping the posts with their flanks in their desperation, and sending buckets and tools clattering on the ground. Soaked to the bone, Mundy and the calves reached the barn as the hail began cracking against the roof as if the sky were dropping rocks. He pushed them, those straggling calves, through the opening and dragged the door behind them. The calves' baying chorus of fear punctuated the roar of the storm as they huddled under their mother's muck-splattered legs in the center of the barn. His father was inside already, bundling old dusty canvases into a pile on the workbench. "Get over here! Hurry, Mundy! Damn it!" He'd never heard his father curse in English before. This was a bad storm. Mundy ran to the workbench, and his father told him to put his arms out. Soon he held a pile of canvases and wool blankets they used to cover newborn calves. His father told him to take the canvases and run back to the field shed. Mundy froze, blinking. The field shed was half falling apart, a relic from the original farm, better used for firewood. "I said go," his father shouted. "Now!" Mundy wanted to ask why. Why would they put themselves in danger for a rickety old outbuilding? His mother burst through the door, a black wall of rain blocking the view of the yard. Her long brown hair undone was sopping wet and matted against her head. "What are you doing out here?" she yelled. "We need to get to the cellar." "Missus, you take the lamp and blankets and go to the cellar. Mundy and I will be there soon." She turned to Mundy and through gritted teeth commanded, "Come with me now." "No." His father shoved Mundy toward the open door and the storm beyond. "We've got work to do. Get to the shed, Mundy." Mundy ran with his bundle as fast as he could into slivers of freezing rain that bit his face, lashed by wind from the north and then from the west. He looked back to the barn. The figure of his mother and father were illuminated by hot white flashes of lightning, their faces gnarled in angry words. His father raised his hand about to strike Mundy Nelson, and then the scene went black in a single roar of thunder. Mundy hunched over the stack of canvases, pressing forward toward the field shed that swayed like a pregnant heifer with the whipping wind pulling at the wooden shingles. A maple plank snapped off the north wall, exposing the building's skeleton of red oak posts. His father caught up with Mundy. Mundy ducked through the doorway of the shed and pitched his bundle on the ground. The timbers overhead creaked as they shifted under the force of the wind. His father stumbled in moments later, breathing hard, his arms full of more blankets and canvases in various states of repair. They stood in the darkness for a moment, catching their breath in quick, rasping gulps. "Spread out the canvas on the ground," his father instructed. "This wind might take off the roof." They tugged each corner of canvas and blanket, stretching them in haphazard patchwork on the shed floor, which they weighted down with disused fence posts and ancient scythes with thin blades rusted and gouged. They hurried back to the house as a lightning strike charged the air around them, and immediately gave birth to the loudest clap of thunder Mundy had ever heard. A poplar tree snapped, falling in a whoosh of branches where only hours before Mundy had stood pulling wild blackberry cane. His father pulled open the swing door to the root cellar and waved Mundy in. He ran down the stairs, his teeth chattering, straight into his mother's arms. She wrapped a blanket over his shoulders. The sputtering lamplight revealed the stone wall and the ends of tree roots pushing their way in. Her cheek was red, where Lars had hit her. The wind and rain did not weaken for an hour. More trees crashed, the roots tearing loose from the saturated ground. His father joked about whether any of the apple trees would have any fruit left, but Brita hissed at him to stop joking. "You put Mundy in danger, Lars." She hugged Mundy tight. "I won't forgive you for that." The storm eventually broke, leaving only the patter of cold rain and night. Lars opened the cellar door and called down to them. "We can go up now," he declared. He clutched Brita's arm to steady her up the old wooden ladder, but she shrugged off his hand, glaring at him and saying nothing.